Ready?
Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast. This is episode 27-1. This is the beginning of World 27 or Season 27 or just the number 27, brought to you by the number 27. We are a video game music podcast. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell.
Every week we listen to great game music from all consoles and all generations, whether it's old, whether it's new. We find a topic, we find some people to chat with, and we have a good time listening to music.
It's the way to go. It makes people happy, and it gives you something to move and groove your feet.
I like the way that sounded. We're just trying to make you happy.
Please. Receive joy.
So last week was our Patreon episode, and we had a fun quiz where we tried to I tried to trick Pernell into what was a real 3DO game and what was one that I made up. And that was a whole lot of fun, but there were some corrections on of composers and of song names, specifically from some of those 3DO games that I played on the show. So at our website, rhythmandpixels.com, we have some updates there. And Pernell, have you been playing anything new this past week?
Kinda. So I finally took some time to start playing Persona 5 Strikers, which I'm not sure if I ever mentioned it on the show proper, but, well, this part I'm sure I did. I'm a sucker for Persona games and Shin Megami Tensei. Shocker, everyone I know. But Persona 5 Strikers originally kind of didn't sit well with me because it was designed by Omega Force, which, for those not to know, it is the Tecmo Koei branch that's usually responsible for a lot of the Musou titles we get to come across, like the Pirate Warriors games and Dynasty Warriors games and Hyrule Warriors games, that kind of stuff. And those styles of games generally kind of end up boring me over time because they don't differentiate enough between the action and stuff. It's just mash button until you're done. So I was concerned that I wouldn't like Persona 5 Strikers because it was going to be just more of the same. And every attempt I made to get into these games has always failed. But I'm happy to report I've been enjoying Persona 5 Strikers. Like, it's one, the narrative is still kind of there, in the sense that if you like Persona 5's narrative, this is a continuation of that game. So if you didn't play Royal like me, you don't have to care. You can move right into this game as a sequel. And the narrative continues on, and everyone's getting back together as the Phantom Thieves, chatting it up about stuff. Well, they didn't choose to become Phantom Thieves again. Things happened that caused them to have to do it again. But
they're all on their phones again, chatting with each other.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, on one hand, you don't get like the social links and stuff like you used to because, of course, the game is more streamlined for an action gameplay, not an RPG. But you still get the character interactions, the dialogue, and the hilarious moments that happen. I wish they'd stop picking on Ryuji so much.
Oh, he's my boy, man. Ryuji's my favorite.
He's a bro, yeah. Like, every Persona game, like, well, not everyone, but 4 and 5 both had, like, 3, 4, and 5 had bro characters in them, essentially. And I genuinely feel like Junpei is still probably my top dog because he was so laid back. But after him, I think Ryuji's legit. So it makes me sad when everyone was like, oh, Ryuji did something stupid. Because, like, maybe if the cat didn't jerk him around so much, he wouldn't make comments like he does.
No, I love that, like, they're like, oh, we got to do this to save the world, or we got to do this, we got to stop crime. And Ryuji's like, we're going to do this and pick up girls. And
it's almost like he's the normal, he's like the most average.
He's the most
normal person in the group. He's a teenager.
Yeah, he's the most like average teenager. And so, like, when there's any opportunity, like, I'm like, yeah, my character's going to hang out with Ryuji and try to pick up girls, and of course they're going to fail, and it's going to be funny. But, like, I feel like those are the bonding experiences, like, that the teenagers need, you know? Like, I'm not going to have them like, okay, now I got to go work out. All right, now I got to go to the doctor to get medicine so that I can go do the next dungeon. And I'm like, no, man, I want him to be a teenager for a while. We'll save.
You're going to Big Bang Burger.
yeah. We'll save the world on the weekend. We're saving the world on the weekend.
Saving the world on the weekend. But it's a great game. Mm-hmm. Like, the combat is good, the characterizations are great, and the best part is that even the Musou elements don't feel so bad. Because the combat heavily emphasizes exploiting enemy weaknesses like Shin Megami Tensei's are known for. You have to still have decent use of your personas, though there's a lot less personas now, so you're not as frustrated with choices anymore like you used to be. Now it's just like, long as you just kind of sort of pay attention to what you're doing, you should be okay with your personas. But I put it on hard mode because I'm that jerk. And fun fact, whereas in Persona 5, I can play the whole game and never go to the store for items and armor, that's not going to happen here because I got to a boss early in the game who started mopping the floor with me, and I was doing like 2 to 4 damage per hit. Keeping in mind, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be doing like 30. No. And it was like a nitpick, chip away damage bit. And then like the boss before that, I had one character survive. It was Panther fighting against a succubus. And the succubus was strong against her attacks. So it was very frustrating, but I beat it.
So you're just grinding at it, right?
Yeah, like I have to finally start spending my money, and I have to actually, level up my personas and not just be like, hey, if I exploit weaknesses and I'm a careful fighter, I'll be good. Like, no, because sometimes the game doesn't care. You'll get shot by a fire blast off screen and you'll die because you have no armor. You can't absorb the hit. So
yeah, like, you're trying to play it like an RPG.
Exactly. And you just can't do that. So I have to evolve with the gameplay style and get better. But I want to get better because I want to see this narrative play out. I like the idea of how they, like what they did, because I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you're not in palaces anymore, something else.
Oh, okay.
And right now they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. This isn't a palace. This is something weird.
So are you into it also? Probably because I think Persona 5 was a big game for you. Do you think it's like
yes,
like revisiting that world and seeing the characters again is probably really nice?
It's exactly that. Like, I like seeing them all interact. I smile when they have these, like, cause I'll go around forums and people will say, oh, this is lame. Look at this weeb content. And people want to insult it all the time. I'm like, no, it's okay to smile at ridiculous stuff happening on the screen. It doesn't have to be serious. I have Megaten 4 Apocalypse for that. Or not even Apocalypse, but I have Megaten 4 for that. I don't need Persona to be this serious all the time. Though I won't lie, if Persona 6 comes out and they're like back to what Persona 2 was like, I'm going to be happy. But with that said, I don't need it to be serious. I get enough seriousness in other games and just in my life that I'm cool with hanging out with a bunch of people who get like screw up like freaking like idiosyncrasies or idiosyncrasies and things of that nature and just can't get it right sometimes. It's fun. So, but aside from that, general review stuff that's come which is going to come up on this episode actually, and also I feel like I finally stopped buying board games because not forever, I'm sure, but until not unless I can come up with a way to move or get rid of some stuff because I have too much. Like I officially have too much.
You're out of space. Out of space,
and like even now, like you were talking earlier about how I'm like talking to people now. I can't picture someone coming into my house and being like, I'm like, so here's my board. It's one thing to say my video game room, because I think this room is perfectly structured and organized. Everything's well shelved. Board game room is like, here's my trove of stuff. It's on the floor. It's on the closet. It's
I'm wondering if you should build like shelving in your basement, just like wall-to-wall shelving. Off the floor so that they don't get wet, but like just have them like.
The funny thing is, I have a billy down there that I could use. My concern about using the basement is, and maybe I could test it first, but I'm concerned about moisture.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, because your basement's not always dry, right?
Exactly. Like every once in a blue moon, like water might come in. Though I feel like I might be this close to getting it under wraps, but if anything happens where moisture sets in there, it could damage the games, which is why I didn't use it originally when I first moved into the house.
Well, I'm happy to hear that your game room is that your video game room is nice and organized, though.
Yes, I love my video game room. It's
the classic. This is your classic game room because you play games downstairs, right?
I play main games downstairs, but up here I have a CRT TV. And I have like my PS2 hooked up to it, but I've broken up the Dreamcast in here. I've broken up the Saturn in here. I have a Retron 5 to the right of me right now. Like, I have access to pretty much every console I grew up with in this one room right now. And it's really cool to just sometimes be like, hey, I want to revisit this. Like, it happens for the show sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have a topic, and I'll go, oh, before I talk about it on the show, I want to play it again. So I'll just yank it off the shelf and start playing it.
Yeah, it's awesome that you don't have to, like, okay, I got to plug this in, I got to grab that, I have to find this cable or something. You just got it all together.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good feeling.
All right, so this week we are talking about Speed Limit, the game, the new indie title. I guess it's not really new, right? It came out recently-ish.
I would say like 2 weeks ago it originally came out, but people were playing it even before that from what I can tell on YouTube.
Yeah, the betas have been around for a while. But the game Speed Limit is kind of a retro style side-scrolling shooter, kind of like Russian Attack, but faster and more
I wouldn't go that
difficult.
far. Think of it like this.
It changes all the time.
Speed Limit is basically the idea of an action movie playing out in real time, in the sense that you're a character, just some guy, something happens to him, he gets a gun, and suddenly the world's after him and wants to kill him. So he's running, and he's shooting, and he's trying to get away, and then every level escalates it more. Like at first he's on a train running, and then he's on top of the train running, and now he's in a car, and now he's on a bike, and it just keeps going, and it's
got a
really hard.
It's got a really fun retro look to it, and the fact that each level keeps changing perspectives and keeps changing gameplay styles too is really cool. So I thought with this episode, I would pick music and play music from different games that kind of were in those styles in the game. And then in the middle of the episode, we have an interview with the composer of Speed Limit, Matija, all the way from Croatia. And it's a nice interview. So we're not going to play a whole lot of music this episode. We're gonna have a long chat with him in the middle, and we're gonna have some of his music playing around then as well. So without any more ado, Purnell, this is the first odd episode of 27.
I like feeling odd.
What is your first track?
Well, this is one of those cases where I could have sworn I picked it on the show, but I couldn't find it, so
Okay.
I don't care. I'm picking it now. This is actually from a game that I need to revisit because it got hated on a lot, but I kind of liked it. It was the game Sonic Lost World, and it was on the Wii U. And the track title is Desert Ruins Act 1, or Zone 1, or Area 1, whatever you want to call it. But it's the first area in the Desert Ruins. And let me see here. I had to check it up here. The composers are Tomoya Ohtani and Takahito Eguchi. Welcome back. You're listening to the Desert Ruins Zone 1 theme, composed by, from the game Sonic Lost World, composed by Tomoya Ohtani and Takahito Eguchi. This was on the Wii U. Many would say this came out after Sega screwed up the Sonic 3D elements once again after, because people would always herald Colors and Generations as being like, they get it, they finally get it, and then things. But I'm one of the rare people who actually was okay with Sonic Lost World to an extent. Like, the main gripe that I had with it was just that I got diverted. I get sucked into music, and the first 2 or 3 areas had great tracks to me, and then the fourth world I was like, feel this so much. So I just stopped. I just literally shut down. But I really was a big fan of this stage in particular. I'm a guy, I'm one of the rarities. I like Sonic 3D games specifically because the 2D Sonic games focus on the platforming. When they try to squeeze in speed, unless it's scripted, it's a pain in the butt. It doesn't work in the 2D scale unless they pan it back, which they almost never do.
You mean in the 3D scale?
No, I mean the 2D. Like, in 2D, they have Sonic up close on the screen so you can see how well detailed him and the environment are, but that means at the same time, you don't get much leeway to see out what's in front of him. It's like, boom, he's already hitting a spiked wall. But if they pushed it back, they'd be able to expand the scope of what you can see on the screen, so it could be 2D and still give you fair warning of what's coming. But I feel like the 3D games kind of cover that, at least, because since they're generally behind his back when he's running, you're running towards everything, so you can see it as it's coming. Almost like how DDR arrows will have, you can see them coming from the bottom to the top. You can plan ahead for what you got to step on. Sonic needs that. Sonic needs arrows coming down the screen.
Wait, are you trying to say
where he's going to step?
Are you trying to say? Let me put it in words that you understand, Rob. Okay. This game that you love from 1999.
It's like Sonic 2D is like DDR sudden move.
Sonic the Hedgehog is a lot like a woman. All right. It's blue. It's fast. And you're always running into spikes that you can't see.
There it is. There it is. Just hang it up. Write the book, Rob. You got this one.
All right. More of a pamphlet, really. It's more of a less of a book and more of a motivational poster that you put in your house.
Dodge the spikes. Take your time. Pace yourself. And communicate openly.
And don't lose your rings.
Oh God! Don't lose your rings.
Don't lose your rings.
Oh, because the game over screen could pop up. Woof.
Anyway, I do dig this track. I will say, it does sound like the Munsters theme song for those who enjoy classic television of the 60s. The 60s or 70s? I think it was the 60s, right?
I think they were the 70s. No, 60s. No, early 70s, because they were still black and white.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. For a while, did they go color?
They would well, the Munsters today was in color, but not the original Munsters.
Is that like Munsters Kids?
No. It wasn't kids. They were still like, the Munsters. It was just, it's kind of funny to think about it now, because back in the 80s and early 90s, they would do these modernizations where it's like, now they're current, they're awesome. Like you had the Scooby-Doo pup kid. They were kids, yeah, but they were also like hip and trendy. Mm-hmm. And even the Flintstones kids, though they were kids, they were also hip and trendy. But with the Munsters, it was more like, now they're in color, now they're with the times. They were making references to 80s culture, that kind of thing. Yeah. And this theme song was like, we're the Munsters today. And everyone's like, oh wow, this is not exciting at all. People love the Munsters.
We don't need any more Munsters.
We had enough. Would imagine there was like an Addams Family today. Then again, I guess the movies covered that basis.
And there was that cartoon. They had a cartoon for a while, right?
They did, and now they're bringing it back with like Christina Ricci too. I don't know how that's going to work. She's going to play Wednesday Addams again.
Oh, I guess they're all grown up now. That's all it is.
That's the thing. I think the way they're portraying it, she's still going to be in school.
Oh, okay, sure. Maybe she's going back for her GED. I don't know.
There it is. I spent so much time being morbid that I never thought about education and how I could use it to be more morbid.
I was trying to be morbid, but now I want to be a doctor.
Who's also morbid.
A morbid doctor. All right, so moving on to our next track. This is from the game. It is not the original Infinite Runner, but it is the Infinite Runner that caused a sensation. It's the one that really popularized the genre. It's called Canabalt. And the track is called Mach Runner. I think this is from stage 1. And the composer is Danny Baranowsky.
My man!
Yeah, I thought you
I've never met or had a conversation with.
I have a feeling you're going to be into this track anyway. And we're back. You're listening to Mach Runner from the game Canabalt, with the music composed by Danny Baranowsky of Super Meat Boy fame.
And it's funny too, like this track started playing. I haven't heard the Canabalt OST since I played the game way back when, but it honestly sounded like I was playing Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, it definitely has that style to it. It's a very like electronic slash it has a symphonic kind of feel to it, with a lot of movements and a lot of quiet, like a lot of dynamic quiet parts and then a lot of dynamic loud parts. It's really neat. So yeah, Canabalt is like one of the first endless runners where, I mean, it's just a guy running across rooftops and like the buildings are exploding and they're falling down and you're crashing through windows. But I mean, it is truly endless. It's just procedurally generated, just obstacles constantly coming at you. And then you're just playing for a high score. And the score is just how far can you run? But it's the style of it is really clever. It's really cool. When I first played this, like in a Flash game, I couldn't believe, like something so simple could be so interesting and so addicting. And it's a really neat game. It's on everything, right? I think you can get it on your iPhone, on Android. It's out there on Steam.
I wonder if you can still get it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
Canabalt.
It's a really, really cool game. And so the opening levels of Speed Limit are kind of running through a train and running on top of a train really made me think about this game. Even though in this game you're all only running, you're not shooting or doing anything else. You're just running and jumping. It just had that same feel to it. It's very 2D and a classic pixel art style, but with just a lot of style to it. It's got a lot of movement and motion. It's really fun. So yeah, if you haven't seen Canabalt, definitely check it out on YouTube and then see if you can get it on your phone. It's probably free, maybe, on your phone. I mean, when I played it, it was on Congregate, so I think it was free then. So hopefully you can still play it for free now.
Is Congregate even still around?
I don't know. I would be afraid to see who is squatting on that URL.
You go there and it's like, crap, the episode crashed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Don't even Google it because it'll crash the site and crash your computer.
No, it's still there. It's still there, sort of. Yeah.
Don't open it! Don't open it! It's a trap!
I mean, it's already dangerous enough opening a Google Chrome browser and doing the show at the same time.
Touche. Like, fun thing I learned recently, speaking of which, Zoom makes my entire computer just break. It blue screens my computer. I don't know what it is about Zoom, but like sometimes I can open it and it's fine, but other times I'll like open it and then close it and it'll blue screen. Like you can't handle Zoom.
On your new computer?
On my old laptop.
On
old one.
Yeah, your new one's going to be able to handle things. Trust me.
Oh God, yeah, I love that laptop right now. Like I'm in that protective phase with it right now, where it's like it's always in its case and it's always secure. But when I'm playing games on, like I was playing Zombie Army 4, which is like a Left 4 Dead type of game, sort of, but like more chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
And it pushes your computer. Like it uses a lot of effects and glare and all that. This computer wouldn't even be able to boot it. That computer, it was just buttery smooth, had no issues. I'm sitting there playing it in my lap. So yeah, it was hot. But it worked. Like I was flabbergasted to have I had a computer that could do this kind of stuff. It's a solid state drive. So it boots right up. I push power and it's already on. It's crazy. I know people are listening to this like, welcome to like 2015 for now. But
it feels nice though. When you haven't had that before, it feels pretty amazing. And when I made the switch, especially for the for the podcast computer, the production computer, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on the line, we have Matija, all the way from Croatia, and he is the composer of the game Speed Limit, which came out not too long ago. And we're going to chat with him. We're going to talk about how he approached the game and what he likes about video games and music. And it's actually a really nice interview. So we're going to play a little bit of music from the game and then have a chat with Matija.
Hey guys.
Hi, Matija.
Hey. Thank you for having me, guys.
Well, thanks for coming on our show, man.
Yeah, no problem.
It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I really like what you are doing. I didn't even know about your podcast and was listening to some of your episodes, and then I see that you have really a lot of episodes. I was amazed. Man, that's great, you know?
Oh, we've been doing it
that you
a
have
long
that
time.
Well, yeah, I'm driving a lot, so it's great to have interesting podcast, you know, especially about the thing that I really enjoy.
Oh, great.
Video games and music, you know.
Yes.
That's great. So tell me, which came first, the video games or the music?
I probably played video games a lot earlier because I started with Nintendo and then Super Nintendo. And I played a lot of games then, but when I started to be more interested in music, I let down a bit of this gaming, you know.
Yeah, of course.
It's just you don't have enough time for everything, and it's like when I played a lot of guitar and practiced a lot, I didn't even play. Yeah, it was a period of life when I didn't even play video games, you know. But yeah, I'm coming back to it, and it's great that I have this kind of job that I can combine these two amazing creative worlds, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's something to be said too about the fact that you started with games, got engaged in the music, and then the creation of the music. And though you had to step away from the actual engagement of the games to focus on honing your craft, you were still capable of not losing your love for what got you there in the first place. People like to think sometimes that you have to give up video games in order to do other things. But the truth is, if you're truly passionate about them, they stick with you, regardless of the time. And you kind of show that with your engagement with them too.
Yeah, of course, because it's like with everything, you know. When you have time, you dedicate your time to it. But if something is your passion and you love it, you will always get back to it when you have a free time.
That's true. Yeah. I record a lot of music myself, but I go in and out of phases because I'm not professional. So it's just I focus on my professional life for a long time, and then I get feeling like I want to be creative again, and it's always like sitting there in the back of my mind. And also games too. I don't play as Pernell plays a lot for reviewing, and but sometimes I'm like, oh, that's right, I forgot I really enjoy video games, and it's wonderful, especially to get back into it now. Because it's a whole, like the landscape is wider, if you understand. There's a lot more room for independent developers.
Yeah, and a lot of these games are, this retro stuff is coming back. So it's like it's same with the music. You know, the music is back to 80s. So it's this synthwave that's going for a few years, 10 years. It's like coming all back in one circle. So it's really nice.
Are you into that kind of sound? Is that something that you're interested in? That you're happy that's coming back?
No, not that much. Not that much. I really like different styles of music, but I started with metal and especially death metal and technical death metal and played that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And then later I noticed, wow, there's a lot of other music too. You don't have to growl all the time.
Your vocal cords will thank you.
Yeah. And then I started to listen a lot of soundtracks, movie soundtracks, video game soundtracks. I really like experimental music, electronic music. So, but this synthwave is too similar for me. You know, it's I like the niche and I like some of the stuff, but sometimes it gets to. I listen to some stuff and think about, oh man, I heard this before, but no, I didn't. You know, it's similar stuff. It's
I understand totally.
It's lacking a bit in variation.
When I want that itch scratched, when I want to feel that, I can go to any of it and enjoy it. But they all are similar. The heavy metal scene in Croatia, is it something that's big?
Well, you know, the country isn't that big, so it's not that big. Especially now, there are fewer bands than there were before, 10 years before. But before all this, that I started to make music for video games, I was playing in it's some kind of mathcore, you know, something like Dillinger Escape Plan, but like Dillinger Escape Plan and Mr. Bungle combination, you know? And I don't know if you know this bands. Or
I'm gonna have to double check, but to believe it or not, in a small world, I have to double check, 'cause I swear I've heard this before, but it's funny you mentioned Dillinger Escape Plan, because from what I recall, they originated from our town.
Oh, really?
Maybe is that where I heard them from Delaware?
They were from this area. Okay, so I was slightly off. They were formed in Morris Plains, New Jersey. So that's probably why people think Delaware, because they're local. Morris Plains, New Jersey is right down the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Small world, and I love when that kind of thing happens.
Yeah, and you probably heard Mr. Bungle because the singer is Mike Patton from Fate No More.
Okay. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
Maybe you know it by that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think it's funny you mentioned the idea of like variations in music too, and like how you came up into where you're at now. Because I was fairly similar. I grew up in an environment where I was kind of led to have to listen to a certain type of music because that's what my community listened to. And then through video games, I found an interest in rock music, which then led me to metal music. And I really loved the metal. And I don't know what happened, but somewhere in that window, I went from metal to shoegaze. And now I just kind of toe the line between the two.
Well, that's great. You know, anything that makes you happy. You know, it's. I hate it when I talk to people and then I say, you know, it sounds so pretentious. You know, I'm a composer and sound designer for video games, and then people are like tensed about it. You know, they are tensed about it when. Oh, you probably don't like this kind of music. No, man, listen to whatever you like. You know, don't obsess about it. It's not the most important stuff in the world. You know, if it makes you happy, it's the most important.
Yeah,
thing, that is a fantastic way to view it too. Like one thing that I like to say, like, you know, I'm sure you've met the type too, based on what you just said. Which is when you say, do you like this type of music? Like, it's like country, right?
Yeah.
The guy goes, oh God, no, I hate country. Country's terrible. My philosophy has generally been that while I have favorites in genres, of course, I don't think there is a single emphatically bad genre of music. It's just a track you haven't heard yet.
Yeah, I agree. And every kind of genre has something to give something to you, you know, and to open a new world, you know. Because sometimes I listen to some genre that I really don't like, and then I hear synths behind. Oh man, this sounds really good, and I could copy it and copy it into my music, and then nobody will notice because I copied some stupid synth from this pop song and put it in the totally metal song, you know, so nobody will hear it like that.
It's an astounding thing there too. Like, it was like just the other day, a friend showed me a video where a recent rap song had sampled a specific snippet from a specific section of a Donkey Kong Country 2 track.
Oh man, nice. Nice. That's so cool.
So, in your time working with game audio and game music, what are some genres that you've been asked to do or that you've dipped your toes into that you've enjoyed most, or that you maybe that not you've enjoyed most, but that were new to you?
Well, yeah. This I had to do these trailers with some orchestral music, and I liked always liked classical music, but it's really different kind of approach because you have a large variety of instruments that all have to have they have to have each sentences, they have to be separated really good.
Yeah.
And in the start it was really hard for me to do, in a digital audio workstation, when you set it all up and then you see all these tracks and all these MIDI notes, and will it go together that good? And then you get used to it. You get used to any kind of genre. I did that. I have this project that is breakcore with metal and has accordions, and it's folk accordions from this Balkan area, and
metal breakcore accordions.
Yeah, and I really, I want to make music that is that metal guys will hate, and the folk guys from this area would also hate because it's too metal. and I really enjoyed to do that.
That wild medium is like, I hate metal and I hate folk, but I love this.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you, maybe you probably don't know it, but it's a guy called Igorrr.
Okay. Oh, that sounds familiar. That's breakcore, right?
Yeah, that's breaker with different kinds of genres in it. It's a mashup of everything. Yeah. So I always like to make different kinds of music. I'm currently working on some synthwave track. That's the track that I already put out before. It's called Neon Limit. And
I listened to that the other day.
Yeah, and I did a remaster of it, and it will be, it will probably end up in speed limit update, probably.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to do it, to have it looped and put more arrangements, different arrangements, and that's it. Yeah, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that game is non-stop action.
Did you give it a try?
I did watch some playthrough of it.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic. It's pretty hectic.
I wanted to hear the how the audio, how the music would match with the gameplay, knowing what the gameplay would be like.
Yeah.
Were there any additional considerations to like how things would loop or how things would fit into place as an arrangement?
Well, when I don't know if you guys read it because it was on some kind of blog. The guys asked me about it. I already have. Yeah, I already did some kind of synthwave soundtrack for the game, and it's like I have all these 12 or 13 projects opened. It's not they are not finished tracks, but you could make a track from it, and I started to play these tracks that I already did, and nothing ever was sounding great with this hectic game. It was too slow all the time. It just wasn't a good fit, because the guys at GameChuck said to me, yeah, they would like a synthwave soundtrack. And then when we heard this, my tracks that are basic sound synthwave, it was it wasn't a good fit. So I had to rethink about writing a new soundtrack, and I had a lot of problems because I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to make a metal soundtrack because it's too easy to do. too easy. It's just it wouldn't be something to talk about, you know.
You wanted something unique.
Yeah. It was like it was like harder for me to do, you know. This I don't know how to call it. It's some kind of I don't know what would you call this sound? Yeah, the game soundtrack.
I couldn't even tell you. I just know it's great and zippy.
I know. I was going into it. And I was like thinking, okay, it's going to be like maybe some frenetic metal music, but then it was like synthwave speedcore, like speedy.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah. You made a good point. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, but it's the speed matches the gameplay really, really well. It's not a it's not a rhythm-based game where the gameplay has to be played to the rhythm, but the rhythm of the music dictates the gameplay. It kind of guides the player, which I think
the tempo keeps you charged.
Yeah. It pushes you forward. Yeah.
That game is always going forward.
I do want to mention before I forget though, since we touched on it, it was brought up on SML, which is why it's new here. But you did mention, that you have a blog where you kind of talk about the process you go through with constructing your music. If you could, probably even at the end of the episode or something, or the end of the interview, kind of share that link with us. We could always post it up so that other people could read it.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
But I don't know, I'm trying to think here. I know we talked about that you were into games at one point and then you stepped out and came back. But when you were most into games, what would you say were some of your favorite games that you played, the ones that you would say most influenced you with your gaming experience?
Well, I think that it was at the start of my gaming route. You know, it was this Super Nintendo probably was my biggest influence because I played. You know, I really liked that game, and I always listened to that soundtrack. And it's called the game is called Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yay!
And
that's one of his
love
favorites.
that game. Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that game, and I was so scared playing it as a kid. With that, it's a Chainsaw Maze or something like that. How is it called? That level when the guy
chainsaw
chasing you, right?
It is the chainsaw chainsaw hedge maze.
Yeah. That's it. It's really great. I really like the music in it. But you know, when I played it as a kid, I wasn't thinking about music. But later, I remembered, oh man, that really had a great music. So I really liked, of course, Super Mario World. Played it with my sister. She was always Luigi, so yeah, of course. I mean,
you gotta be Mario. You're player one.
Yeah, of course, man. She's younger, so she has to be Luigi. That's it.
Those are the rules.
Yeah. And then later, you know, the PC came, and I started to play adventure games. I really like LucasArts adventures, Monkey Island, especially 3. You know, I first played Monkey Island 3, and I liked the art, I liked the music. Grim Fandango had great music. Oh man, it's also Full Throttle. I like that one, and I'm a fan of Fallout series.
Okay.
Fallout 2 is my favorite, but because I played it a lot.
I was terrible at Fallout 2. I love the game, but I never could deal with rat poisoning in a way that wouldn't cost me money or bottle caps, which is why I always fail.
Well, it has some. It has a different approach. It can be seen in those older games. Probably they were pretty much more brutal, you know. When I can see it, brutal to the player, I mean, because when I see Lion King from Super Nintendo, I played it as a kid, and I remember finishing it, and I was thinking, oh man, this thing is really it's really difficult to achieve this, to finish the game.
Yes.
And then later I see people talking about it, that it's really hard game, so I was like, oh, I'm so proud of myself.
Yes.
Yeah, but these games were really difficult. Now you can always, read about something. You type it in on the internet and ask, "Oh man, I cannot finish this boss," and somebody gives you an advice, and you finish it really easy.
Yeah,
And
but
it's like
without the internet, it took a long time to get through things, and also the games weren't designed to be forgiving.
The games were done probably that way, to make the money worth. Because you bought the game and you had to have probably, 30 hours of gameplay time. Now you can buy cheaper games. I mean, not cheaper in development, but on cheaper price. But then when you buy something on a lower price, you don't expect to play it for 30 hours, or 40, 50. Yeah.
It's weird now. Like, the industry, I feel, has changed a lot along with just how we've grown up. And this is going to be a weird tangent, but it came up in a Garbage Pail Kids collection group that I'm in, where I mentioned it, which is that when I was a child, if I wanted to buy a pack of Garbage Pail Kids, it was 25 cents, and you could get a set of 80 cards. That's 40 A names and 40 B names, probably for about $12. It's not hard to do. It's just going into the store and consistently buying general packs of cards until you're done. Mm-hmm. But as we got older and our interest remained intact, our income grew, and our fervor to capture that entertainment level grew with us. So now suddenly 80 cards is a guy going to the store saying, just give me that box. It's not that much money for me. I got them and I'm done. So the companies will go, wait, this guy can just throw away money to get one box of cards. We need to make him throw away that money multiple times because he'll spend it to get that same rush. So you would add more. They'd add chase cards. They'd add variations to the card. They'd do anything they could to expand it. And when it comes to the gaming environment, the situation is a little different. Back then, disposable income wasn't great. You were probably going to get like 5 games a year if you were lucky. And so as a result, the companies had to make you want their games. And the way to do it was to say, this game has 100 hours of gameplay, or you will fight to beat it. It's going to take you time. So if you buy a game, it's going to last you a while. But now we have a market where so many people can develop games and produce them. And the big boys are also developing more games now than they were back then per calendar year. So now it's less about giving you an insane amount to do in one game, so much as it's to say, here, we're going to make it so that you can take this game, consume it as quickly as possible, so you can move on to the next product. Whether it's ours or someone else's is either here nor there. But we want you to buy more games because we know you can afford more games.
Yeah. That's a good observation, yeah. It's same with the music. We are totally spoiled. When I was in the 90s, you came to a CD store and you bought a CD or cassette because it had a great cover. That's it. And it was at our country, it was like that. You couldn't open a CD and listen to it and will you like it or not. No, you heard it from a friend. So this band, I don't know, Pantera is a new band, and you bought a CD because the cover looked great. And then you pray at home, oh man, please God, let this band be good.
I had a couple of those.
Sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah,
I still have those CDs sitting in a case, and I'm thinking, I was never going to listen to that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but it's true, and also the entry of music production and distribution now is so low over the internet. So there's a lot more.
Yeah.
It's mirroring the games industry. There's a lot of games in development. There's a lot of music that's available too.
Yeah, it's great, and instruments are pretty cheap now.
Yeah. No,
because,
I agree. It is great because
yeah.
Some people can complain because they could say it's driving the quality lower because the entry is so much lower. But I think it's better for more people to get.
It's more competitive. Yeah.
To get involved and to learn and to be creative. I think the more people who are creative, the better.
I mean, without the YouTube, I probably wouldn't know to do any of this stuff.
Sure.
I just watch the tutorials and then, oh man, I could do it at home. I really have a lot of guitar pedals, and you could use it in a different way. Somebody opens up your eyes and you get a totally different idea of making music. I think it's great.
Yeah, it takes me back. So I'm thinking about that more now too. So, like you said, how you picked it up a lot through like YouTube videos and having access to, tutorials that didn't break your bank. Basically, it's like easy access, not expensive. I look back on when I was a child and I wanted to play an instrument. This was before YouTube, and I'm an old man, so I wanted to play an instrument. My family didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't afford to get a music teacher. And even just getting an instrument was tough. So the only point of entry I even had was my school band club. But the school band club required me to spend about $500 to get a saxophone. Again, we were poor. So that didn't happen. But I feel like if you look at the present era now and the means of which people can get instruments for, like you said, for much cheaper, I don't have to pay for a single teacher to come to my house and teach me. I can go on the internet and have a guy on a video say, put your fingers here, here, and here, and then the camera zooms in and shows him doing it. Like, as long as you have the drive, and admittedly you got to have some money, but you may not need to have it even all at once. You can finance it with no interest, all kinds of stuff, and it's just generally cheaper. It's so much easier to get started for people now. I agree, and I can see it on a price of the guitars, electric guitars. Is before you could buy a shitty guitar for $500 and it couldn't tune well and everything. Now you can buy a great guitar for $500. You could buy a pretty good guitar for $500. And if you hear it, if you think about it, that it sounds awful or something, you change the magnets and you have a great sounding guitar. I don't know. The instruments are pretty cheap now. All these synths that are coming out also started to be pretty cheap. Before it was like you have to have to rent a studio and use their equipment and then make music. It's really a steep price for someone who never made music. It's daunting.
Yeah, it becomes how do you even just because you're interested, how do you even start? Right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, totally. So if we're going to present some of the music from Speed Limit for the show, is there a specific track that you really enjoyed creating, or something that you would think best represents the game?
Yeah, I really like the track number 6. I can't remember the name because they were named after the levels. And I'm also working on different games, so I can't remember the level names.
Because I don't want to pick something that you listened to, or maybe later on you're like, oh, I didn't like that one so much.
No, man, I probably I never listen to my music after that I'm done with it.
It's one and done, yeah. Is it because you're tired of hearing it, or is it just because you're interested in the next one?
Yeah, but you hear it a lot because you are rearranging it. You know, you first start writing it, then you rearrange it, then you mix it, then you don't mix it that good, then you mix it again, then you mix it again, and then you master it, then you don't master it that good, then you master it again, and then you are just crazy. And you lose the interest in those tracks, and you always hear something that you would like to change a little. I'm like that, you know. I listen to some stuff that I did, and I always, maybe those drum sounds should be a little bit quieter, and the synth should pop out more, and then you
then the rabbit hole. The next day you listen to the song, you're thinking the exact opposite, right?
Everything changes. Yeah. What was I thinking? And it's also, you know, when you are working on some kind of music and you listen to it a lot, you start to be subjective about it, and you really don't know if is it good or not at the end, you know? I tend to listen to some stuff and think about, oh man, this stuff isn't that good. And then it was like with this Speed Limit tracks. Some of those tracks, I was like sending it to my colleagues and, do you like this stuff? Do you think that I should change something? Because you are listening to it all the time and you lose this, you are really not objective about it. So, yeah.
While you were writing, were you given gameplay? Some footage of the game to understand the context?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the employee of GameChuck. I'm not a freelancer, so I'm always at the office, you know?
Okay.
So, I was... the idea of Speed Limit was presented to me in 2018, probably, because... and I started to work for them full-time in the summer of 2019, so a year later. And I saw just first two levels, and I saw just the concept art for the other levels that will be programmed later, you know, will be worked on later. Yeah. So I just I played all the demos, I played all different level designs, but it's really hard, you know. It's really difficult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think that I'm the worst player in the office. Yeah, because I don't have any will after I'm killed about 5 times, you know.
Yeah.
But on the second stage, that's going to happen quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I am curious. There's that one effect where when you go through a stage and you get killed, the game rewinds back a bit, and the music kind of rewinds back to accompany your death.
Yeah.
Was that a personal choice you made when composing, or was that something they said, hey, could you make a loopy thing here? You know?
They were talking about they were first interested in visual cue, you know. They first wanted to do it as this video that was rewinding, and then I thought about it. Well, yeah, then I should put this sound on. But it's always the same, you know. It's not the music that is going backwards. It's done in Game Maker. It's not with some middleware like Fmod or Wise. It's not done like that. It's just an effect. It's the sound design thing. Yeah.
Interesting. So the game was created on Game Maker, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. That's what I like. That's what I use, and it's always interesting.
I read it about 10 or 15 minutes before this interview. I read it that you were working in Game Maker. Yeah. I was checking you guys out. You know, who am I talking to?
These guys. Hopefully, you came away and said these guys are on the level. I like those.
They're Americans. Yeah. We got to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
it's great seeing how, I mean, that game engine's been around for a long time, and it's slowly started to incorporate 3D development elements. And then in the past 2 or 3 years, they've said, no, we're just going to focus completely on 2D. And I think it's because the what people are doing with just 2-dimensional games and the interest in maybe older style or just 2D games in general has really grown. And not just, I think it's not just computer games or on consoles, but on the phones and handheld games too. You're not exactly playing 3D shooters on your phone all the time. It's very difficult to do. So there's a huge market and there's a huge interest in 2D games. And it makes it's fun. It's a fun language to work in. If people like programming, if people don't like programming, then none of it's fun. But I think it's fun. It's always like a little puzzle. But no, I'm a jack of trades and a master of none of them. I just enjoy doing it.
That's great because you are probably enjoying it all. You are just getting a scoop out of everything.
Yeah,
a scoop of greatness out of everything. Yeah,
and don't let him fool you either. He'll say master of none. But his definition of master, he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
Well, you're my friend. You have to say that.
Oh, that
is true. Well, we're getting a little bit late because Pernell and I are still recording the full episodes. So before we wrap things up or anything like that, would you like to tell our listeners of any other projects that you can talk about or just where they can find more of your work?
Well, I have just finished working on a game called Primordials, and it's also from Croatian company GD Entertainment. I was their sound designer and composer. I am also currently working on Red Solstice 2, and I'm their sound designer. I'm working in F mode, implementing the sounds. It's a game from this also Croatian company. It's called Iron Ward, and the demo will be out, I think, on Friday. It's some kind of shooter inspired by it's something like RPG with inspired by aliens,
Oh, okay.
Just now I'm wondering if I looked at the right game, because now I'm trying to find it. It's not Primordials Battle of Gods, is it?
Primordials Battle of Gods is the game that I was sound designer and composer, and it's a different kind of game. It's something like I don't know, Dota or something like that. Okay.
Oh, so that was the right game. Okay, so I just
that's it. Yeah, but I was talking about Red Solstice is a different kind of game, and it's inspired by aliens. You are Marines. The aliens are coming to get you, and it's awesome and fun thing to work on because there is a lot of interesting sound design ideas. And it's all it's gory. There's a lot of killings, and you have to use all this stuff from your you have to use a lot of this stuff in the kitchen. Cabbage that you strike with a knife, and
this is my kind of game. I like the look of this.
Yeah, it looks great, and then the demo will be out, I think, on Friday. I think it's March 12th. Yeah.
So we'll play the demo and listen for your kitchen.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, just in case, were you involved with Red Solstice 1 by any chance in the meantime?
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I probably wasn't even then doing sound design. Yeah. This guys just took me in their second edition. Second game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be looking out for this one then, because like I said, I just looked at some screenshots on Steam, and it looks right up my alley for sure. Also, for folks who might be down with like XCOM or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's similar to XCOM. Yeah, I forgot about that game. Yeah, and I really like Alien franchise. So it's great. And what was the other question? I forgot about it.
Where can our listeners find the more works that you're doing other than games? You said you have a blog that you write?
No, I just have a company blog on GameChuck, but you can find my music on. You just use my surname and you put .com because I don't want to spell it out for you.
That's okay.
it's too difficult. No, it's MALATESTINIC.
Got it.
.com. So Malatestinic. So it's really hard for anyone. It's even hard for Croatians to spell it. So
well, that's no problem. We'll include those links on the website and in the show notes when the show is out for the public. So
yeah, sure.
But thanks for taking the time to chat with us and to talk and
it's been a good time
process.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Thank you guys for having me. I will listen to your work probably a lot more in the future because I have a lot of listening to do.
Well, it's appreciated.
I didn't. When you called me, I didn't even know that you guys were doing this, and it's really great. I always listen to podcasts, and I never got to you guys. So, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you.
Really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, and we are back. Thank you, Matija, for spending some time with us and talking about this new game and about yourself, really. That was really enlightening.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really good. Hearing his background with heavy metal and with math rock and like that kind of like really interesting, like, I don't know, how do you describe math rock?
It still confounds me, honestly, because like just by the concept of math rock, the first time I heard it, I legitimately expected to hear a bunch of equations played over like a beat, but and then like also I ended up coming across a band which is definitely not math rock. It was called like the Algebra Suicides, and I was like, okay, well, if there was a math rock band, they would be called the Algebra Suicides, and then it was just like, nah, it's weird. It's definitely an interesting style of music, but I like it. It's just I can't describe it very
hard to describe. But anyway, so for more information about Matija, where you can find his music and where you can find the game Speed Limit and all of that stuff, it's at rhythmandpixels.com. And actually in the notes of today's show as well. So if you're on your phone, you can scroll down and see all of that information there. But we have some more music to get into. So Pernell, what do you have next?
Well, if these are the last two tracks we're doing, I should do my bonus round.
Yeah, let's do a bonus round. Bonus
That's not how it works. You got to do more zip and zap to it. You got to bonus round, baby. Something like that. Some pizzazz.
Bonus round, baby.
There you go. There we go. That's the stuff.
Oh man, that was a little. I was getting educated on how to do that. The bonus round is where we play covers and remixes on our theme. Pernell, what is your bonus round track?
Well, I actually was looking for Overdrive Ostrich from Mega Man X2 because I was like, well, like I said, I usually look for a specific track and find a good cover of it. Mm-hmm. But instead, I came across a better cover from the same game, and I was like, well, guess what? I'm dealing with it. I'm using it. So this is from Mega Man X2, and it is a remix of the Wheel Gator stage, which I guess technically counts, but he's going the actual speed limit in that dinosaur tank. Anyway, the track title is called Wheels of Steel, and is composed by vmike, which might interest some of our Swedish friends and listeners because he is from Sweden.
Okay, vmike.
vmike.
A vmike with the V.
Like victory, vmike.
vmike, all right.
Welcome back. You're listening to Wheels of Steel from the game Mega Man X2, or rather remix from the game Mega Man X2, and done by vmike. This track I like a lot because, one, believe it or not, Wheel Gator's theme is one of my favorites from Mega Man X2, but I'm not ashamed to acknowledge that the track is very short and it loops very frequently. So there's not a lot to the original track. It's just a good track. But even though his version does have that repetition to it in a sense too, he does different things across the bars, so it feels different, even though it's the same as you go between like the different elements of it. It's a great track. I was a big fan of it, and I've listened to it multiple times already, even before the episode. Like, it's good stuff, but it's such a slow tank. I guess it's pushing all that metal. I guess it has to be slow.
It's real heavy, so it's taking its time, is what it's doing.
It's cruising.
Cruising!
Dino tank! Yeah!
All right, moving on. Our next track, I picked from the game Spy Hunter. So, yeah, part of Speed Limit kind of goes to a top-down racing game type game, but like you're bumping cars off the road. It's very much like Spy Hunter. And I chose from the game Spy Hunter for the PlayStation 2, which was a remake of Spy Hunter in 2001. This is the main theme of the game, which is a remix of the original music from Spy Hunter, which in itself is an adaptation of Henry Mancini's theme to Peter Gunn from the television show Peter Gunn.
That's like a bonus round of a bonus round. It's like get layers into this.
I need to dig back in because I know the original music and I know what the original music is based on, but I couldn't find the composer or who did the arrangement on this game. But all of the songs, all of the stages are kind of arrangements of the original theme. And once you hear the original theme, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. I feel like this music is ingrained in my mind for some reason. There was a game that came out in 2012 that also includes arrangements of
Spy Hunter tracks?
Of the Spy Hunter track. A lot of them, but that was all music by Ryan Shore. I don't believe this is Ryan Shore. And I think it was 2005 or 2007, there was a movie of Spy Hunter with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Did you know that?
I can't even fathom how that works. Like, the Spy Hunter wasn't exactly a massive property as far as narrative is concerned.
No, not at all. Definitely a great game for its time in 1980 something. But anyway, so here we go. This is the main theme, the Spy Hunter for the PlayStation from 2001. Let's go. And we're back. That was the main theme to Spy Hunter for the PlayStation 2 from 2001. The theme from Peter Gunn, composed and conducted by Henry Mancini. And this one was arranged and performed by the band or group Saliva. Yes, this was 2001. So I have a feeling that all kind of tracks. Yeah, I don't know anything about Saliva.
Well, saliva is generally amasses inside of your mouth, and it's used to lubricate your mouth. And actually, I don't know crap about saliva aside from just generalisms. I'm not going to explain.
Yeah,
stupid.
Looks like they did some music for a lot of TV shows, a lot of WWE and wrestling and WrestleMania stuff. So,
oddly enough, it does sound familiar to me as a band, but I don't quite know where I would have placed them.
Here we go.
Like I feel like I've heard them before.
They're from Memphis.
Oh, well, it's Memphis. Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't know if this is the same people. Yeah, no, yeah. I can't believe this is the same band. But that's how they're credited on IMDb. We have some friends who might know a better idea of where this might come from. But there's some.
I wonder who you're referring to.
I don't know. But it's tough. Like this. I don't know who did what, but it's a cool remix, I think. It reminds me of Propeller Heads from about around 98, 99. They did a kind of a big beat, break beat type album, and then they did a...
Math beat.
Yeah, and then they did a really popular James Bond theme song remix that got put onto like this big remix compilation. It was like 12 or 13 minutes long. It was epic, but it was definitely in the same style, and I was wondering if had some similar artists, and it doesn't seem that way. No. Tennessee rockers Saliva.
Does that James Bond track happen to play throughout the course of an entire action sequence or something?
No, I don't know. It was just a long song. That was just the style of the time, putting an onion on your belt.
Thank you, because I was going there if you didn't.
Well, for more information on our bonus round, you can go to rhythmandpixels.com. We'll have links to the artists' Bandcamps and SoundClouds and everywhere you can go buy the music and support the artists. All right, thanks for joining us on episode 27-1 of Rhythm and Pixels. This is our speed limit episode, pushing it to the limit with Matija and some rockin' tracks.
It's been a good one too. That was a fun interview. The tracks that we used were great, and honestly, thanks for us using this outro track. I ultimately ended up using every track I wanted on the episode. So
good. I still have a few. We might have like a follow-up episode next week, but I don't think this will be the last time we hear from Matija. It was a really good chat. It was a really good hangout, and he was saying his English might not be that great, but honestly, I think it was pretty good. So
he rolled with it. And honestly, I genuinely feel that level of confidence with guests that say that too a lot of times, because I can relate. First of all, I can't relate 100% because I can't speak any Spanish. So if I say I can't do it, I can't do it. But I do feel that sometimes the concept of I don't want to overstep my skill level, so I'll play myself down just to be safe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can totally understand.
You probably didn't know what to expect. What are we going to, what American accent are we going to have, and how fast are we going to talk?
Say a bunch of dumb puns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be hard translating puns to another. Yeah, it's a lot. But anyway, it worked out really great. So I have a feeling
3 in the skillet is worth 5 in the candle.
And the game he worked on is really cool, and the music is fantastic. So I have a strong feeling that we're going to be having him back on the show. But
it'd be awesome.
If you would like to learn more about our show, about the music we played on our show, and about the artists that we featured on our show, go to our website,
rhythmandpixels.com.
I want to say it again. I'm proud of how the website turned out. I'm probably not going to redesign it for a while now, because it's finally in a place that is respectable. Respectable, Pernell.
It's tasteful.
It's tasteful. Yeah, I got rid of all those ads that were messing up everybody's computer.
It's hard, I think, when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
too.
Also it's tough to know what people are going to like, So, sorry, my dog was scratching at the door, and I had no idea what was going on. If you want to get in contact with us, if you would like to say hi, If you have any track suggestions or topic suggestions, please send us an email.
rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
And you can check us out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You just type in Rhythm and Pixels and all one word, and we'll turn up right there. And check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/rhythmandpixels. We have a 24/7 radio station playing nothing but 8-bit and 16-bit classics and deep cuts. It's got also on twitch.tv/rhythmandpixels. It's playing there as well. There's not always a lot of chat happening on the stream itself, but there's a lot of music that plays. Huge playlist, a lot of music that was picked by me and Purnell, about a lot of music that was recorded from a C64 by Michael Bridgewater, and a lot of music that was all compiled and put together by Ed Wilson from the VG Embassy. So it truly is like a big community project right there. So just if you want to check that out. And if you'd like to support the show, you can go to rhythmandpixels.com/merch. We have some cool new shirts. And Purnell, I got a shirt just for you coming out. Because
you make a new one?
You need a new Falcom shirt, so I'm making you one. I'm thinking of doing shirts with like game audio teams, like an SNK audio team and a Falcom team.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Like a team jersey type thing, but with them on it. But we'll see how that turns out. But we have other shirts there related to the show, related to video game music. So if you'd like to show your love of game music or of the podcast, check that out. And you can also go to Patreon, patreon.com/rhythmandpixels. And there you get a weekly prequel episode. You get access to a monthly live recorded episode. And you can hang out in the chat and hang out with us. And we also like to thank all of our members at the highest tiers at the end of every episode. So we start with Frankly Zappa, Mike Myers, Vashin8060, That Nick Walker, Ed Wilson of the VG Embassy, Mats Holmqvist, Michael Jennings, Davey Cakes, Justin Schneider from XVGM Radio, Sonic Medley, Taco, Harold Howard, Dave Taylor, Reinhard Silkova, Andreas Mielberg, Dan Loughton, Sleepy S'more, Steve Miller, The Autistic Gamer 89, Cameron Worma, Christopher Shenstrom, Bobby Arson from One Up Funk, Wicked Sephiroth, Carlos from the Heroes 3 podcast, Michael Bridgewater, also Meebury from the Forever Sound Version video game music podcast, and Brian Pitt. So thank you all so much for your continued support of our show.
It's greatly appreciated, and we look forward to chatting with you in the future hopefully on the live stream this month.
I wonder who scratches. Maybe it might be a cat. That might not be a dog.
I mean, you have cats and dog singular in your house.
If you stay on the, it's going to be a reveal on the podcast. Here it comes.
What is it?
I don't know.
Was it Archie? Oh, I guess he can't hear me. He's not at the desk yet. Was it... I love how I keep talking despite his headphones aren't in yet. There you go. Was it Archie?
It was both. It was the dog chasing the cat.
Wow. I thought it was funny because you opened the door and I just saw a tail shoot up onto the desk, so he must have just leapt up there.
Yeah, I thought he was going to knock stuff over.
Oh, fortunately, he didn't.
Hey, buddy. So yeah, thanks for joining us on the show. Thank you for listening to my cat. I'll turn up. Oh, it's on my lap. That's so nice. And we'll see you next week. We're going to have maybe a revisit of the speed topic or maybe something else. What do you think, Purnell? What are we going to do?
We could do a combination. We could do like speed cuisine.
Speed cooking games, right? Like Cooking Mama?
No, it has to be speed. It needs to be speed cuisine. You got to combine the two. That's what makes it special.
He wants to eat my headphones. All right, we got to get going. Otherwise, this whole episode's going to fall apart. All right, my name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Purnell.
We'll see you next week.
And remember, time passes, it moves, it flows, it whatever. And I think it's almost more for the younger listeners of the show. I'm not even going to lie, because I've only been thinking about this lately too, and it comes up in the interview. As time passes and you're younger, you start to find yourself thinking, I got all the time in the world, because I have so much time today because it's taken forever just to get to this class or for this period to end or, for this, generally classes, because once you're in a working world, you're already kind of boned anyway. But don't take that for granted, because when that time slowdown catches up to you, it freaking blows. All of a sudden, your day just shoots by, and all of a sudden, holy crap, it's done. What happened? I lost all this time. So even though we have a lot of time, we also don't have a lot of time. So if there's a project you want to work on, don't delay. Project today. If you want to say that wonderful thing to that person you care about, don't delay. Say it right the heck now. Do what you need to do as soon as possible. Don't let time slide because you think you got tomorrow. You don't know what you got, but you know you have dreams and aspirations right now, so put them to use. Get them done, or at least get them initiated. It's worth doing. Please do it. Woof.